What's your childhood mystery that you finally solved years later? When I was 12, our neighbor, Mr. Peterson, lived alone after his wife died of cancer. His house shared a wall with our basement, and the acoustics were weird. Any sound in our basement echoed perfectly through his kitchen. I discovered this by accident while playing video games down there. I'd knocked over a lamp and heard him moving around next door, responding to the noise. Being a curious kid, I started experimenting. If I knocked on our basement wall in specific spots, it would resonate through his kitchen perfectly. At first, it was just random noise while I gamed, but then I noticed a pattern through our tiny basement window. Every single night at exactly 8 p.m., Mr. Peterson would sit at his kitchen table with a cup of coffee. He looked incredibly lonely, just staring at old photo albums. One night, feeling bad for him, I knocked 3 times on the wall. He immediately jumped up from his chair and stared directly at our shared wall. Then, to my complete shock, he knocked back 3 times. I thought we'd started some kind of neighborly game, so I kept doing it. Every night at 8 p.m. sharp, I'd knock our pattern. Sometimes 3 knocks, sometimes 5. Sometimes I'd tap out little rhythms I made up. He responded to every single sequence perfectly, like he was having a real conversation. This became my nightly routine for 8 months. I'd finish dinner, head downstairs to do homework, and spend 20 minutes knocking on the wall. He'd always respond immediately, matching my rhythm exactly. I started getting creative. Morse code patterns I learned online, drum beats from songs, even spelling out words by tapping. He matched everything flawlessly, like he understood. One Saturday morning, I was shooting hoops in our driveway when I overheard Mr. Peterson talking to my mom by our mailboxes. What I heard made my stomach drop to the ground. He was crying actual tears, his voice shaking. "I know this sounds completely insane, Karen, but I think Margaret is trying to communicate with me from wherever she is. Every night at 8 p.m., the exact time we used to have coffee together, she knocks on our kitchen wall." My mom looked concerned, but was listening patiently. "It's not random noise," he continued, wiping his eyes. "She's using our old Morse code system from when we were kids. We used those patterns as children to talk through our bedroom walls. She remembers every sequence perfectly, even responds with new ones I've never heard before." My blood turned to ice water. I'd been accidentally recreating his dead wife's childhood communication system for over half a year. Every creative pattern I thought I was inventing was actually triggering his deepest memories of her. "Sometimes I sit there for hours just talking to the wall," he whispered, telling her about my day, asking questions, and she responds with the most beautiful, complex rhythms, just like when we were 7 years old. I realized he'd been having full conversations with what he thought was his deceased wife's spirit. That night at 8 p.m., I sat in our basement staring at the wall, unable to knock. Mr. Peterson waited at his kitchen table for 20 minutes, occasionally tapping hopefully on his side. I never knocked again. Over the next few weeks, I watched him through the window, growing increasingly distressed. He'd knock frantically every night, sometimes for an hour straight, calling out, "Margaret, please don't leave me again." 3 months later, he put a "for sale" sign in his yard. The day before he moved, I saw him packing boxes through his kitchen window. He placed his hand against our shared wall one final time. He moved to Florida to live with his daughter, convinced his house was too haunted to stay.